Hello guys, in this class I'm going to explain you the process incineration. It is a waste treatment process actually by which waste materials are burnt and the heat energy is recovered as electrical energy. To explain you, I have made a simple chart work out of the waste material itself. Basically, there are three methods of disposal of wastes: composting, incineration, and then landfill. Combustible wastes are usually treated by the process incineration. Biodegradable materials are converted into manure by this process called composting. And the materials which cannot be incinerated or which cannot be converted to manure are usually disposed by the method called landfill. So this is a method by which unfit land or the land that is not used for cultivation later on can be used for cultivation purpose by the method of landfilling. So this class we will see in detail about this process incineration. Under this we will be seeing what kind of materials can be used during this process and the steps involved in this process and what are the essential parts of an incinerator, finally advantages and disadvantages. Incineration is a heat treatment technology by which combustible wastes that do not contain toxic substances in it are burnt in a furnace, and the heat energy is recovered as electrical energy. What kind of materials can be used in the incinerator? There are certain restrictions and regulations followed about what can be used in an incinerator, what should not be burnt in the incinerator and all. Only the materials that are combustible and that have very high calorific values are used in an incinerator. But whereas plastic materials, metallic substances, electronic items, all should not be used because they will pollute the atmosphere with the toxic chemicals. Alright, as well as the materials that may damage the incinerator should not be used during this process. And steps involved in the process are waste storage and feed preparation. Before feeding the material into the incinerator, certain preparation need to be done. Next, combustion in a furnace to produce hot gases, and then ash residues produced are disposed. Heat recovery via steam generation is a third step. Flue gas produced during the process is treated to remove pollutants from it, and useful products are recovered from it. Finally, disposal of ashes and then treated gases. So these are the steps involved in the incineration process. Now let's see about the process one by one. Waste storage and feed preparation. At this stage, unwanted materials such as non-combustible substances, toxic substances, plastics, metallic items, oversized materials are removed. This step is very essential because without proper feed preparation, furnace combustion performance may be impaired, and proper feed preparation prevents major fire hazards, because we are removing the toxic substances and all at this stage. And preheating of the material is also done at this stage. Okay, the sizes are made even, unwanted materials are removed, and materials are preheated to at this stage. Next to waste storage and feed preparation is combustion. It's an exothermic reaction between fuel and oxygen. During incineration of waste material, fuel is the waste material and the oxygen source is air. Furnace is designed to produce good mixing of the waste and air. There are many regulations and guidelines for design and operation of waste storage, handling, and feeding systems. Organizations that develop such regulations and guidelines include US Environmental Protection Agency EPA and National Fire Protection Association NFPA. Temperature achieved in the furnace is a result of heat released by the oxidation process and must be maintained very high enough to ensure complete combustion, but it should not be very high to damage the equipment or to release excessive nitrogen. The waste material that are stored or fed into the furnace burning chamber of the incinerator by means of a crane system. Okay, and the temperature achieved during burning goes more than 800 degrees Celsius. What are the gases that may be produced during burning? Okay, organic substances mostly, right? So carbon present in it gets converted to carbon dioxide, and hydrogen present in it gets converted to water vapor, H2O. Sulfur gets converted to oxides of sulfur, and nitrogen gets converted to oxides of nitrogen. If chlorines are present, then hydrochloride gases are produced. Carbon monoxide emission is also possible that occurs due to incomplete combustion. Next to the combustion stage is heat recovery via steam generation. Alright, the hot gases that are produced in the chamber during burning of the waste materials are passed on to the boiler. Alright, whereby steam is produced. The heat energy of the gases is transferred to the water present in the boiler so that the water is converted to steam. Alright, and after passing the heat energies to the steam, now the gases are cool enough. They are not that much hot. Alright, so that gases are passed on to the other stages for the removal of pollutants present in it. Okay, the pressure of the steam is utilized to turn the turbines of the generator to produce electricity. So this is how the heat energy is recovered to produce electricity. Now the cool gas, alright, after transferring the heat energy to the water present in the boiler, is passed on to the other stages for removal of the pollutants present in it. So next stage, after recovering the heat energy for the production of electricity, the gases has to be treated for removal of the pollutants. before they leave in the chimney. The method involves wet scrubbing and then dry scrubbing. Wet scrubbing is a method by which the gases are washed away using some liquids. Okay. Dry scrubbing are the methods by which pollutants are removed in the dry form itself. For example, in the wet scrubbing, the gases are passed on to the chamber and the liquids are sprayed from the top, whereby it is washed. Okay. For example, if it has got chlorine content, if the gas has got chlorine content in it, if it is washed with the water, alright, hydrochloric acid will settle at the bottom. So this can be recovered. If the gas has got more acidic content in it, then it can be neutralized by spraying with caustic soda, sodium hydroxide. Alright, so it depends upon what kind of pollutants present in the gases. Depending upon that, the chemical liquid is chosen. Alright, and after being cleaned using wet scrubber, the gases are dried to remove moisture and then pushed into dry scrubbing units such as Bagos filter, electrostatic precipitator and cyclone separator. Bagos filter, it works just like the vacuum cleaner. Okay, it consists of fabric filters. Fine particulate pollutants are trapped in the fabric filters and the clean gas is sent out through an outlet at the top. Later on, the particulate pollutants are collected in a conical base and then removed. And the filter has to be cleaned and replaced periodically too. Okay. Now let's see about another dry scrubbing unit, electrostatic precipitator. It is also called as electrostatic air cleaner. The device functions by applying energy only to the particulate pollutants. That is, the particulate pollutants are charged first of all. In this device, the walls of the container are positively charged. Okay, and at the center there is an electrode which is negatively charged one. It is located and positioned at the center by hanging with an heavy metallic sphere. Okay. If the particulate pollutants are charged with a negative charge, alright, then the particulate pollutants are attracted by the walls of the container, walls of the device, which is positively charged. Okay, and later on these particulate pollutants are removed by mechanical shaking. And another unit, the cyclone separator. In this case, the particulate pollutants are removed by a centrifugal force. Okay, so first the polluted gas is subjected to a fast spinning motion so that the particulate pollutants are thrown on the walls of the container and the clean gas is removed at the top. Here the pink color spiral curves represents polluted gas, okay, and the dots represents the particulate pollutants, and then the green color spiral curve represents the clean gas. Clean gas is removed at the top. Okay, now the emitted gas from the chamber, furnace. Okay, after recovering the heat energy, it is cleaned to remove the pollutants both by the wet scrubber unit as well as by the dry scrubbing units. After that, the clean gas is now ready to release into the atmosphere through chimney. What's last is the emitted gases. Okay, the emissions should be checked whether it has got any toxic gases in it, as well as the ashes produced in the chamber after burning has to be disposed. In spite of all this cleaning process, the emissions still may contain carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur, and metallic particles in it. Exposure to particulate matter leads to various diseases that have short and long term health effects. Short term includes asthma, respiratory infections, and long term exposure leads to heart diseases, lung cancer, etc. WHO, World Health Organization, air quality guidelines offer global guidance on thresholds and limits for key air pollutants that pose health risk. Guidelines indicate that by reducing particulate uh, pollution from 70 to 20 micrograms per cubic centimeter, we can cut air pollution related risk to certain extent. Another problem in this incineration process is disposal of ashes produced. So normally the ashes produced are disposed by landfilling method. Let's have a quick summary on the process of incineration. So it's a process by which organic combustible wastes are burnt to produce heat energy, which is then converted into electrical energy. So first the waste materials are stored and then they are prepared before they are fed into the chamber or the furnace, okay, whereby the unwanted toxic substances are removed. Then the waste materials are fed into the furnace through crane arrangement. The waste materials are burned to achieve a temperature of greater than 800 degrees Celsius, and the hot gases that are produced in the chamber passed into the boiler where steams are produced. Steam pressure of the steam is utilized to convert the turbines of the generator to generate electricity. Now the heat energy is recovered from the flue gas. Okay, then the flue gas is now cleaned by wet scrubbing method and various dry scrubbing methods such as Bagos filter, electrostatic precipitator, and then cyclone separator. After all these cleaning treatments, now the clean gas is sent to the atmosphere through the chimney. Ashes produced during the process disposed by landfill method. Okay, hope you understood, guys. Okay, meet you all in next class. Thank you.